Coach, I wanted to start here. Last season, you guys made a little bit of a playoff run, had the big win over Idaho, and then the extremely close game against Sanford. Can you talk a little bit about the learning experiences from last year's playoff run?
Similar to what it was in 21, when we played FAMU here and then went up to James Madison. 19, we played Villanova here and then went up to Montana. So we've constantly grown from that standpoint of being able to travel on the road to, I guess you could say, the Bluebloods FCS. I think that's important to be able to do that. We went to Sam Houston. We went to Jacksonville State and James Madison, Montana, Southern Illinois. So we're trying to travel. We're going to Eastern Washington this year. We're trying to travel to these places who are perennial winners, at FCS level. We haven't been. That's not our history. And for us to be able to be mentioned in that group, well, we've got to go to those places and figure out a way to win. And we've struggled with that, winning on the road at those places. We do well on the road. It's not, our record's fine, but when you get to the playoffs, it's a different level. So Montana really beat us bad. James Madison was closer. And then this past year was overtime. So I think when you keep experiencing things, and look, I was a novice at this thing at the FCS level, but I think the format of playoff football is so much better than bowl. Now the bowls have their purpose with the fundraising and the charitable contributions that they make, and I was a part of that for a long time. But the atmosphere in the playoffs, man, it's just a different cat, and it's just so much. You built up for Saturday, and if you win, you keep on going. But if you don't, man, you talk about pull the rug out from underneath your feet. So it's the playoffs is important. You get that extra time to develop young guys, and your staff gets another game plan. You see another part of the country. You see experience different areas. And going to Sanford allowed us to do those things.
Coach, I think you guys are going to be one of the only teams to have two all-conference quarterbacks this preseason across the country. Eli Sawyer, of course, Zachary Clement coming in from Northwestern State. Are you guys going to roll forward with possibly a two-quarterback rotation, or are you guys looking for one guy to emerge as the main starter?
Zach, we're going to do whatever we got to do to win. Since I've been here, we played two quarterbacks. So in 19, it was Chase and Virgil and Cole Kelly. And 20 and 21, it was Cole Kelly and Cephas Johnson. And 22, it was Cephas Johnson and Eli Sawyer. So could we play just one? Yeah, absolutely. But could we play two or three? Yeah, we could play, two, possibly all three. So it's just we're going to do what we got to do to win. And that's whoever's executing and taking care of the football, obviously. But, the leadership, there's so many things that go into it. But I think it speaks to the culture of our team when we're able to do that at the quarterback position. And everybody, the other 21 positions, see that and say, well, you know what? If they'll do that with the quarterbacks and they can get along and they can figure it out, then we should be able to do that at our position too. And I think that speaks a lot to what's going on here in our organization.
One of your representatives today from Media Day, John Allen, a consensus FCS All-American, arguably one of the best offensive linemen in the country. Can you talk a little bit about his development inside your program and what he could mean to Southeastern Louisiana by hearing his name called in the draft when he ultimately takes that next step?
Yeah, I think it's his leadership is where John's a good player. You can turn the film on and see that. But I think it's his leadership, his demeanor, and how he carries himself with the rest of the team. The way that he approaches his everyday meetings, practice, workouts, everything is what you want. And that's the reason he was here today representing us. And, he'll represent us all season long like that on the field. He's like I said, a good player, but his presence in the locker room is where he's felt the most.
No, we had a conversation. We've had it on the Southland Media Day conference and here in this breakout session, but the transfer portal has continued to take over college football. You really pride yourself on building your program through the high school ranks. Can you talk a little bit about why that is and how you guys pick and choose where to take your transfer portal shots?
Well, I think when I got here, Nichols was winning every year, and Southeastern was built on transfers, junior college predominantly. And I grew up in this state, so I know the passion in this state. I know talent in this state. I know the high school coaches in this state. And I said when I got here that I'm gonna spend my time in South Louisiana first, and then we're gonna work out from there. And we've done that, and we'll continue to do that. We've got 73 guys on our roster right now that grew up within 70 miles of here, and we're going to continue to do that. And I think we got to do a great job as coaches of evaluating, recruiting, and then developing our kids. And when they do that, they're coming here because they want to be here, not because this was their only option out of 10 other ones. They want to be here, and that's what's important to us. And I think that's where we got a little edge. See, John, thank you, buddy. We got a little edge on. See y'all. We got a little edge on as to who we get in here. That those guys are going to play for the university and not just for themselves or for a couple of bucks. And as far as transfers are concerned, we went that way last year. I was not happy with it, and we curtailed that a bunch this year. And the ones that we took, they're either grad transfers from good universities, or they're guys that we recruited out of high school, including Zach. We knew the family, we knew the person, and we knew that he fit. And there was a lot of guys that wanted to come here. We turned them down. And it's okay. Look, and some of them might hurt us. We're going to have to play against them, and that's fine too. I just didn't think they were good fits for us and our culture.
Coach, I appreciate you for a little bit of your time. Congratulations on the championship last year and going forward another one this year.
Yeah, that's I appreciate it, Zach. This team hadn't won anything. We're not defending the thing because they hadn't won anything. It's a brand new bunch, so they know that, and they'll play hard. I can tell you that. I don't know how the season might end up record-wise, but those guys will play hard.
I saw J.R. Teagues up at the World Series in Omaha, chatted with him a little bit, and we were talking about your hire and how it was kind of a little bit outside the box thinking, an NFL assistant coming to become the head coach at Southeastern, and how well that's worked. What has the job meant to you, and how do you reflect on taking that job now here a few years down the road?
Well, I'd come to Hammond when we started the Manning camp up here. We had started it at Tulane, and we moved it to Southeastern in year 2, and so I was able to come here every year working the camp and just fell in love with the town. And I was on staff at UTSA with Pete Golding, who was an assistant here back in 13-14, right around in there, under Ron Roberts. And Pete and I were talking one day, and he said, "I think Ron's going to be getting out. Is that a job you'd be interested in?" I said, "I would love that job. I think you can win there. I think it's a gold mine that nobody knows about. I just think it's, with the right funding and things like that, sky's the limit. I think that's a program that can go national." And he kind of started laughing, and we talked about it a few other times. And but then when the job finally did come open, I'm sure he was instrumental in putting a bug in Jay's ear. But I was going down to the Senior Bowl and spending some time down there, and Jay said, "Hey, can we meet on your way to the Senior Bowl?" And we did, and that's kind of how it came together.
What does the conference mean, Coach, in terms of the in-state rivals? And I guess this is a question you can ask every year, but it seems more and more like some conferences are thrown together. There's no emotional ties between the schools. They're far apart. It seems like with Northwestern and Nichols and Southeastern and Northwestern State and all these teams in state, it's special to the fans and the alumni and the players. Is that the case?
Yeah, nobody likes each other. The coaches, we all get along, but some people hate McNeese worse than anything. Some people hate Nichols worse than anything. Some people hate Northwest. And they hate us, So that's fine. But I think the coaches, Brad and Tim and Gary, those are guys that I've been knowing a long time, and really good people and really good coaches, right? And so that obviously that animosity doesn't carry over with us, but I know the fan bases do that. That I think you go back to the old Gulf South Conference when Lafayette and Monroe and Louisiana Tech and all the schools you just mentioned were in there. There was a tremendous rivalries between the schools because everybody was in driving distance, and the fan base could get to all those games. And I think that's a big part of it. We're a bus league for the most part, and our fans can go to the games, and their fans can come to our games. So. We see each other, we play each other and everything, and our players play against each other in high school, and they read each other in local newspapers and things like that because they're not that far apart.
And I guess maybe last thing for me, what does the Baton Rouge area mean to you in terms of recruiting and players? And I mean, it's only 35 minutes away. I mean,
Yeah.
we're basically the same almost. But what has the area meant for you in terms of your talent?
No, hotbed of high school coaches over there, man. Good talent. They do a really good job. There's some schools over there that every FBS school goes into every year. They know they're going to have players there, and not only at that level, but at our level for us. And I think that's where we're able to get better players now because of the transfer portal. That some schools are going after transfers only, and that's leaving some good high school talent out there that we're able to get. And I think that's a bonus for us. We get poached. We lost 6 guys this year to FBS, but and out of those 6, none of them had any scholarship offers coming out of high school. So when you look at that, I think we identified the right guys and developed them, and we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, a follow up. I mean, at SEC Media Days, we heard Lane Kiffin and some guys talking about flipping 30, 40 guys on a roster every year. It's not good for the sport.
No,
I don't
it's
know
not, Jock, but I'll tell you what could help. And Lane's right from that whole standpoint. But go back to limiting to 25 again. And the FBS is complaining that they can't fill their roster. Well, that's because they keep running guys off and cutting them and then going filled back up and all of them do it. So they can't sit back and say, we don't do that. They're lying. I talked to them. I know what they're doing. They call me and say, hey, would you take this guy? We're about to get rid of it. So it's put it back where they got a 25 initials or 30 initials and then stop it at that. Right now, you're allowing guys to sign 40 and 50 and 60 guys. Well, all that does is tell you they can walk into a program and cut everybody. Or every spring they cut all their guys. After the season, they make one cut, and then after spring ball, they make another cut, and then they come to our level and go get a backup corner or go get a backup receiver or things like that. So, look, coaches we eat ourselves, okay? We're pretty stupid when it comes to some stuff, but it's because the money has gotten to where it's at. You got to figure out a way to win, and they're never going to give that in as long as they have that advantage of having as many unlimited initials as they want. They extended it again this year, which is again stupid, but that's the NCAA. They're worse than the federal. Well, no, federal government's worse, but they're competing against them. I can tell you that. So I think that's the biggest thing. If they would just cut that stuff out, then you'll see a settling down of the rosters.